Hey guys, Edmund Pelgan here and welcome back to another Shopify SEO review. In my reviews, I'm going to be looking at popular Shopify sites and look for ways that they can improve their organic traffic through improving their SEO. Today, I'm going to be looking at Esther & Co., a popular Australian women's retailer. Let's get started. Alright, so looking at Esther & Co., it's a great looking Shopify site, very aesthetically pleasing, got great amounts of content, good product imagery, etc. I ran a speed test using GTmetrix earlier on, and of course GTmetrix gives it a relatively poor score. The reality is these are general analysis tools, the page speed tools, and you've really got to look at them and take what you can from them and use them as a baseline to improve overall performance. You can't focus your efforts on trying to improve every recommendation that they give you simply because it's impossible with Shopify. There are only certain elements that are within your control and certain elements that you can't control. But you know, I use it as a baseline to say improve image optimization typically and things like that. Try to improve the page load speed, minimize the size of the home page and the other pages just so that people don't have to load up all that content. So that's just take that with a grain of salt and use it as you see fit to improve your page load speeds. So what I want to do now is I'm going to look at the site itself from the perspective of how well it's performing on organic search. So to do this, I use a tool called SEMrush, and SEMrush gives you an idea of the organic visibility over time. So if I just put the filter out to all time, you can see the history of the growth and the number of keyword phrases that this site ranks for. You can see up in the top left here that the site has visibility in Australia for 5,800 keywords. Interestingly enough, it also has visibility in the US for another 2,000 keyword phrases. And that's relevant because this site has another site that is targeting the US, which is built at estherandco.com. Now we'll look at that later on and see what that's doing. In terms of how the Australian site's performing, what we want to do is, what we like to see is the number of keyword phrases growing over time. That indicates that either the page optimizations are targeting more and more terms or they're publishing more content that is ranking for more and more keyword phrases. In this case here, it looks like the number of keyword phrases they're ranking for has been relatively steady over a period of time. So let's look at the keywords and figure out what's going on. So if I dig into detail, what strikes me straight out of the gate is that if you look at the keyword phrases that are ranking, not all of them are branded search terms, which is great. The number one phrase that they rank number one for is wedding guest dresses. Now that's got 14,800 monthly searches. Unbelievable. What a great keyword phrase. The second phrase is Esther & Co., which gets 8,000 monthly searches. But straight down after that, you can see a mix of other dresses like cocktail dresses, dresses online, women's clothing Australia. So these guys have good organic visibility for a lot of keyword phrases, right? What you should do in a Shopify site is then go and have a look at the pages that are ranking. And the pages will tell you their strategy for targeting all of the different ways that people in this space, or women in particular, are searching for dresses. So if you look at them, what you can see is outside of the home page, the next most popular page is a collections page for bridesmaids dresses, and it has visibility for 387 keyword phrases. The next one is women's wedding dresses, then cocktail dresses, etc. So the collections are doing the heavy lifting, which is excellent, which is what you want to see. As you scroll down further, you start to see that product pages are ranking as well. So the question is, what are the opportunities to improve the visibility for their site, given that they are ranking quite well for a ton of high volume, high traffic keyword phrases? Well, there are opportunities on all sites. So let's have a look at it, shall we? So if I look at the dresses pages and collections, so let's just look at shop all dresses, right? So what we see here is that the primary collection is called women's dresses. And if you look at the dresses themselves, including in the nav, for example, you can see that they've given you the opportunity to search by occasion or by type, right? And if I hover over the URLs, I can see, for example, in this case, casual. If I click on the casual dresses, you can see that the URL, right, shows you the product tag that is used to create this list or this filtered list of casual dresses, right? What's interesting here is that the page title, right, of this page, I'll just refresh just to make sure. Actually, we'll just use a tool, Chrome plugin, and pop this up and we'll have a look at it in detail. So tag pages on Shopify sometimes are set up in such a way that they create duplicate pages. They look like the top level collections page, but they're in fact duplicates, and they create unnecessary duplicate content in Google search. I'm just trying to pop up a plugin here to let us have a detailed look at this, and I just want to check how they've canonicalized the tag to avoid a duplicate. So what we see here is we'll analyze the on-page SEO, and what you'll find, it's a bit slow today. So what you'll find here, there it is there. The title is women's dresses, women's clothing, tagged casual. So the title of the page is showing you that it's a tag page. And the canonical is women's dresses. So what that basically means is this tag tells Google, hey, ignore this page, don't rank it for anything because I want you to rank just the women's collections page. But I guess what? Casual women's dresses are a search term, right? In fact, if I've got another great example here. If you go down to length, for example, and we put a filter on maxi dresses, it's the same, right? The page title comes up. It includes the tag maxi, but it's not actually optimized for maxi. And the one thing about Shopify tag pages is you can't optimize meta descriptions on them. You can't edit them to optimize them to target a specific phrase or write a meta description to help it encourage click-throughs. So what happens here is we don't have a page for maxi dresses. Now I've done some previous keyword research here, and I will show you, where is it? Here we go, dresses. So I've done some keyword research. I popped in the term dresses here, and I generated a list of keyword phrases relating to dresses in Australia. And you can see that the number one most popular search phrase in Australia outside of dresses generally is maxi dresses. And that has 18,100 monthly searches. The problem is Esther & Co doesn't have a page that is optimized for maxi dresses. It has a tagged page which allows a visitor to look at maxi dresses on the site, but there's no collection that is dedicated to maxi. So there's a massive traffic opportunity that they're missing because they don't have a collections page optimized for that. Now, it's pretty straightforward for them to create that because you have a feature in Shopify called automated collections where you can populate a collection based on the tags. Now they already have a tag there called maxi, so it should be straightforward to create a collection called maxi dresses, right? Populate it with that tag and then add that collection to the site, right? And there's no reason why you can't have these things working together. Collection pages targeting high volume phrases, right? As well as using the product tags to filter the site to create that. So the collections page is actually the one that's going to get found in organic search. It's optimized for maxi dresses. So that's an opportunity there. So if you crawl the site, which I've done and I've gone through it, you can see that is one of the big opportunities there. They have visibility for a ton of terms, but they're missing search traffic from a whole range of different phrases. And if you look at dresses, I know from experience that there is search around casual dresses, cocktail dresses. In this case, they've already got a collection for cocktail dresses, holiday dresses, party dresses. All of these are great opportunities. Coming back to the keyword phrases, just go through them. Interestingly enough, you can also see that a lot of search is around color plus dress type. So in this case, a white maxi dress, right? So the opportunity exists to say, you know what, I actually have a color filter on the site, a color product tag. I also have a product tag for dress type, so in this case maxi. So you could automatically populate a new collection for maxi dresses with the color white and call it white maxi dresses. Easy peasy, right? So look at all of these massive traffic opportunities, and as you go through the collections, you can see it's a real opportunity for them. The other thing that I looked at from an SEO perspective, and this came about because I crawled the site and it crawled really slowly. There are a lot of pages on this site for Google and any other crawler to get through, right? And one of them is just a simple function of the way that Shopify works. So, give you an example, it creates a lot of duplicate pages based on the way that you browse to a product. Let's click on casual dresses, for example, right? And then I click on the first product that loads. Give me 1 second. I click on this dress. Now, if you look up at the URL, you'll see it is collections/women's dresses/products/chatter dress sage, right? That is a very long URL. It has products in it, it has collections in it. But if we look at the page itself, look at the canonical tag, Shopify handles this by fixing the canonical so that all of these pages, it doesn't matter how you get to the chatter dress sage, it's always going to point to the product page itself, right? And this page won't rank, but what it does do is that it exists It is another page for Google to crawl. Google needs to crawl all of these thousands of pages in the index to then see the canonical tag to say, okay, great, I get it. I need to rank that page, right? So I like to, when I set up sites, work with a developer to make sure that there is typically only one URL that they can crawl to. And there are ways of editing the code so that you don't get all of these duplicate pages in the index. So first opportunity, missing collections pages based on all of those beautiful opportunities in organic search, lots of keyword phrases. They don't have them there. They need to create them. Number two, you could clean up some of the, you could minimize the crawl, the effort that the Google crawler has to go through by reducing some of the pages that are on the site simply because they don't need to exist. Now, the other thing that I should point out, looking at the backlinks of this site has a good, strong backlink profile. I'm using SEMrush, which doesn't have the biggest link database, but it's sufficient for our needs here. It's showing 27,000 links from 1,200 referring domains. It does show a slight, a steady decrease in the number of links, so it's losing links over time. So I'm unsure what their strategy is from a promotional perspective to encourage people to continue to build those links, because it is a very competitive space. Now, remember I said to you that there is a US site as well, and that the Australian site is actually ranking in the US for a lot of terms. The reason being, I guess, is if we look at the US site has visibility for 117 terms. If you look at the terms, they're primarily branded terms, right? And then I guess the question is why? If we look at the backlink profile for the US site, the site in this tool is showing 2,300 links, but from one referring domain. And if we look at that referring domain, you can see that it is the Australian site. So obviously the US site looks to be relatively new. They haven't really started any link building activity yet. The challenge is the AU site is the one that's getting a lot of US traffic. In this case here, 2,000 keyword phrases. And unfortunately, this is just momentum, and it's tough to get over. It's tough to tell Google, hey, I want you to rank this site and not this site, right? This primary site has been around for a while. It's obviously built a lot of domain authority and equity, and it's ranking. The challenge then becomes, how do you get US visitors who might be landing on the AU site to visit the US site? And there are a number of ways that you can do that with geo IP redirects and things like that, and putting pop-ups to say, hey, you're in America, would you like to visit the American store? So look, all in all, it's a great site. Aesthetically looks great, lots of product, which is excellent, and I'm sure it converts very well. From an SEO perspective, it ranks really well for a number of phrases that it's got. You know that this site is going to do really well because it already has page one, lots of position one rankings when it has a collection to target it. In this case, it's got a collections page for bridesmaids dresses, and it ranks well for that phrase. So you know that if they created these collections pages targeting the keyword phrases that they currently don't target, that I'm quite confident that they would pick up a lot of good rankings quite quickly. All right, so really good opportunity for the site. Look, I hope that was helpful. If you would like me to look at your site, just reach out to me, let me know. I hope you enjoyed this one and learned something. Thanks so much. Cheers.